In the wake of the tragic Charlie Kirk shooting, Attorney General Pam Bondi is pledging to absolutely target people who use hate speech. Now, what is considered a hate speech? Well, apparently it's any speech that Pam Bondi does not like, specifically about Charlie Kirk. Now, Bondi had recently said in a podcast hosted by Katie Miller, Stephen Miller's wife, that there is, quote, free speech and there is hate speech, and there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie in our society for it. Now, let me just note, by the way, that hate speech did not cause Charlie Kirk's murder. The shooter, alleged shooter, was the one who caused the death of Charlie Kirk. Okay, that 22-year-old suspect who used a lot of online memes, which he carved into the bullets, and they were, again, they were weird, obscure, 4chan-ish, possibly Groyper memes, right? Talking about ooh woo the bulge, right? Which is like in the right-wing furry forums and things like that. Not saying that that's what he was. Again, we don't really know a lot. We do know that he did come from a pro-Trump family and that he was immersed in Groyper culture. Okay, but apparently, though, according to some people who knew him, he was not exactly political. Seems strange. A friend described Robinson as a fairly typical young man in his age from Utah, someone who loved the outdoors, and was a gamer and into guns. Now, I think that's important because I'm pretty sure that they will casting about for some sort of reason that he did the shooting, that they're going to blame video games. Of course, they're going to blame video games. But look, one of the memes that was inscribed on one of the bullet casings from the shooting is, "Hey, fascist, catch." But that's not because he was a left-wing Antifa guy. No, that was a reference to Helldivers, too. The three arrows, also part of online meme culture, and part of Helldivers. Okay, so that was a game that he really, really enjoyed playing. That doesn't mean that he was that made him go and shoot Charlie Kirk. Okay, that's just, again, online meme culture, right? Being a gamer, being into even guns, right? And meme culture, video games, all that stuff does not mean that you are going to murder someone. You are not more likely to murder someone if you're into those things. That said, Pam Bondi is focused more on the supposed hate speech against Charlie Kirk. A lot of members of the far right are also saying, "Oh, well, it was the hate speech. You called Charlie Kirk a fascist and a Nazi, and that's what made people want to murder him." What? Well, okay, but here's the thing. I remember a lot of right-wingers calling Joe Biden and Barack Obama a fascist. In fact, I also remember people on the left calling Joe Biden a fascist. So, and nobody responded, by the way, to those things as in, "We're going to go after your free speech. We're going to call it hate speech." That didn't happen, but it only happened this time, which is kind of weird. But look, one of the reasons that it didn't happen before, even though there was a lot of hate speech directed towards people like Barack Obama, for example, that's because that kind of going after that kind of speech is unconstitutional. There is no hate speech exception in the First Amendment. The government cannot target people for their rhetoric. It would be blatantly unconstitutional. And yet here is Pam Bondi and Stephen Miller saying, "We're going to do that, and we're going to focus on the left. 100%. We're just going right after the left, and here's how we're going to do it." But again, apparently hate speech, according to them, is to blame for all the political violence against the right that's been perpetrated by the left. But wait a minute, hold on here. It's actually the right that perpetuates the majority of political violence. As you can see, between 2013 and 2022, you had about 75% of all extremist-related political murders done by the right wing. The left wing, 4%. Domestic Islamic extremism, 20%. And so, yeah, you've got a majority that is done by the right wing. Now, the response to that and those similar studies is for the Trump administration to literally pull their reports on right-wing violence off the internet. Good luck on that, because the internet is forever, and you cannot just scrub those things once, they are up. Once they are on the internet, you can't get rid of it. But here they are trying to pull any information off, off the internet that points out that, hey, it's actually the right wing that is doing the vast majority of the political violence. I mean, look, Melissa Hortman, the Democratic Speaker of the Minnesota House of Representatives, and her husband was killed by a Trump supporter, Vance Bolter, which, of course, now Trump is claiming, and Pam Bondi is claiming, oh, no, he wasn't a right-winger, he was a leftist. Oh, give me a break. Or what about the Butler shooter, who was a registered Republican? Yeah. Look, I'm not saying that the left has not done any political violence. No, they have. 4%. Okay. They're just massively dwarfed by the far right, who does the vast majority of political violence. And look, I also know the argument that the right wing is using about this. Oh, well, see, it was trans people. I mean, not him, because he wasn't actually trans. We were hoping that he was transgender, but he's not. But he's got a transgender boyfriend. That's it. Who's transitioning to become a woman. That is why they targeted Charlie Kirk. Of course. It's very interesting that they went from it's a trans leftist to, okay, sure, it is a white person from a Trump-loving family, but they were secretly in love with a transgender person. What? That doesn't have anything to do with it. Again, you cannot blame this. You cannot pin this on transgender people or the left. But they're trying. Oh, are they trying? Let me tell you what. Look, they want to shut down the left speech, okay? Our freedom of speech, and claim that it is all hate speech. Now, here's the thing. Most people are not actually celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. Now, there are some, but the people who are usually happen to be members of groups that have been targeted by him and his network. Yes, some transgender people. They have been targeted by Charlie Kirk and his fans. You also had college professors that were targeted. They had a list of college professors that they would harass, okay, and reveal the personal information of, so that people could go after them online, or so they could lose their jobs. So these are the people targeted by Charlie Kirk and his network. And so, yeah, they would have good reason to be, like, oh, that happened? I don't feel bad about it at all. Okay? But look, most people are pretty ambivalent about this, about Charlie Kirk himself, though at the same time, they still denounce the political violence. In fact, all you've heard from the left, pretty much, and from Democrats, is a denunciation of this political murder, this violence. And so, look, I don't like political violence. I don't believe in that. I do believe in having a dialogue, and I do believe in crushing people with facts and logic. But here's the thing. You can't really have a dialogue if pointing out what people have actually said, their own quotes, okay, is considered to be hate speech, because that's what a lot of people have done, okay? A lot of people have just taken quotes that Charlie Kirk has actually said on the air, racist, hateful quotes, and have just put them up, and they're being targeted and said, and with people saying, oh, that's hate speech. Wait, if quoting Charlie Kirk is hate speech, then isn't what Charlie was saying, isn't that considered to be hate speech as well? I'm just saying. Not only that, but look, Bondi has gone pretty far into trying to charge people with crimes. okay? She had threatened to prosecute an Office Depot employee who refused to print out flyers for a vigil for Charlie Kirk. That employee was fired. Okay, that's the right of the company to do. The company can fire you, and I hope that employee sues. Okay, but what's illegal is the government threatening to criminally prosecute someone for refusing to print out flyers for a right-wing podcaster. That seems a little messed up to me. I mean, not just messed up, it is anti-free speech. And you know who would agree with that? Charlie Kirk. That's right. In 2024, he wrote this: hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech. And all of it is protected by the First Amendment. Keep America free. Now, that is a Charlie Kirk quote. So that means I must have just engaged in hate speech myself, because I quoted the guy. Oh no. Oops. But seriously, though, Pam Bondi's efforts here have actually created a huge backlash, even on the right. In fact, you have Matt Walsh, okay, who posted on Twitter of Pam Bondi, and maybe this is more than just criticism of what she said, and more of criticism of the fact that she is a woman in a position of power, because that's kind of Matt Walsh's whole thing. But anyway, here's what he said: get rid of her today. This is insane. Conservatives have fought for decades for the right to refuse service to anyone, which is true, they have. We won that fight. Now Pam Bondi wants to roll it back for no reason. Now, there's a reason. There's a reason. Y'all know it. It is to go after Donald Trump's political enemies. Eric Erickson, another conservative, also wrote on X, quote, our attorney general is apparently a moron. Hey, no disagreement on that one. Broken clocks and all. There's free speech and then there's hate speech. No, ma'am. That is not the law. And Savannah Hernandez, a commentator with Turning Point, Charlie Kirk's own old network, right? She called Bondi's words, quote, the most destructive phrase that has ever been uttered. She needs to be removed as Attorney General now. So very strong statements here from leading conservatives. Now, following this backlash, Bondi attempted to walk back her comments on Tuesday, saying, quote, freedom of speech is sacred in our country, and we will never impede upon that right. My intention was to speak about the threats of violence that individuals incite against others. But that's not hate speech. That's not hate speech or free speech. No, look, according to the law, credible threats of violence are not protected by the First Amendment. So we already have adjudicated this. The Supreme Court has already ruled that true threats, statements expressing a serious intent to commit unlawful violence, can be prosecuted under state and federal law. So we already have that. Now, political hyperbole, defined as exaggerated statements that are not intended as serious threats of violence, are protected speech. Jokes, statements made in jest, are also considered to be protected speech. Now, to me, look, I saw a few jokes, okay, at Charlie Kirk's expense, okay. That's not hate speech. You might hate it, but it ain't hate speech. So it's clear to me that Pam Bondi either does not know the Constitution or does not respect it at all, does not respect our freedoms at all, and is simply using her office to go after Donald Trump's political opponents, which is why she was there in the first place. This is nothing more than the political persecution that the right had falsely claimed to be a victim of for so long, being weaponized against the left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.